So last week was pretty hectic. We did have quite a few trades that really showed off how important having a good TP is. I mean, due to a couple trades that literally had their TPs get scraped before then moving in the other direction. But of course, I'll go through all that as the trades come up. And then as always, I'll go through all the setups we're looking at so far this week and answer any questions you have. So make sure to write them in webinar questions and I'll get to them. But overall, I believe we came out of the week like 6.5% in profit. Of course, I'll update the monthly results channel with the actual results, although they kind of depend on where you go out with GJ on Friday, as it did get pretty weird with the NFP release, so there are a couple options for where you might have gotten out. And also, just before I get into this, I will be setting the optional homework assignment just after this webinar, so be looking out for that. And yeah, I'll be going through that all next week. But yeah, so starting off, first trade of the week. I'm not sure if this is actually the first trade of the week, but first trade I'll be going through is on gold. This was a supply setup. Very nice setup overall. We had our level of liquidity. This is just like kind of on the edge of being too far, but it is just kind of within distance. We came up fairly straight. Obviously, we had a few minor retracements that created slight bullish market structure, but it's really not that big of a deal for something like this. They're just like 2 candles, 3 candles coming down. It's not like that big of bullish market structure. But yeah, we got our entry. Oh, this should actually be a normally drawn out zone, but it doesn't really matter. It would have been the same result either way. But yeah, just a bearish close entry, no flip or anything. So this was obviously quite a large stop loss. If I get up the TP rules, this should be... for a stop loss of 200 plus, close full at 1 to 1.5. So obviously this is a 374 pip stop loss. So this is definitely a 1 to 1.5, which got hit within like 4 candles. I was just like a 20-minute trade, real quick. This would cover a loss and a half, or this is just some good profit. So trades like these really do add up in the end. We did have 2 good 5-minute wins this week, which once again they added up to be a good little bonus for the week and for the month. Yeah, really clean price action coming down. We even reacted perfectly off this zone, just showing how well liquidity supply and demand just holds on the 5-minute, even whilst we're reacting from this supply zone really strongly, just full bearish candles. We still react from this well, and just give that bullish of a reaction, and then yeah, we won off that zone. Obviously we didn't take that one. I just wanted to point out how well the liquidity supply and demand works on the 5-minute. The middle zones not matter on the 5-minute. It's not as big of a thing, but ideally we do want to take top zones or bottom zones because, I mean, the same reason as on the 30-minute. Obviously, the top zone is the best price, so investors will be looking for the top zone just to get the cheapest price. And the bottom zone is, a lot of the time, we just get the best reactions from those because it's just the closest there. Middle zones, they might as well go to one or the other. But generally, on the 5-minute, it doesn't matter quite as much. Would you say this gold trade is a middle zone? I wouldn't say this was really too valid of a trade. Liquidity looks quite far for the structure, so I wouldn't really say so. This is the only one I was really looking at. This one was valid as well, but it would be a very large retracement where I think I'm on borderline going bullish at that point. But yeah, that was that trade. Very clean price action, just really nice. And moving on to another gold trade, gold did actually do very well this week. This is one of the examples of price basically just hitting our TP and then immediately coming up. And this is a great showing of how important the 5-minute TP rules are. Once again, I'll put them here. Obviously, for this stop loss size, 173 pips, that is between 150 and 200. So have a minimum RR of 1 to 2. Even if this didn't quite hit you 1 to 2, or you just like didn't close at this point, you should have still closed at break even, just based on the break even at 1 to 7.5. Wait, yeah, 1 to 1.75. Sorry. But yeah, like I always say, I recommend doing this based on the trading view charts, as that's how the rules were created when backtesting. So that's how it's going to work the best. Sometimes you may make a little less than 2%, maybe 1.9% or something instead, just due to spreads. But the win rate is fantastic with it. But in terms of the trade, this is technically one candle liquidity. I'm sure a lot of you might have questioned that. However, I don't mind that for this trade, just because it's actually formed a proper high. A lot of the time, one candle liquidity will look more like, okay, let's just do this for example. One candle liquidity will just look like this, where it's just, this is acting as a supply zone, this is acting as a fine fake out zone. So if we get a good reaction from it, then whatever, let's just pretend there's a zone like here, so it's actually like closer to the liquidity. If we get a good fake out from this coming down and then come up to the zone, then it's fine, but it's still not great for the 5 minute. But on the trade over there, we formed a proper high before then continuing down and breaking the low. So right here you can see there's actually a gap in between here. It's formed a proper piece of structure to take out. And yeah, we did so very cleanly, got a very good reaction. Once again, just on the bearish close that we entered. And yeah, this would have perfectly hit the 1 to 2, which is why the stop loss rules were created. Once again, very important that you follow those, in my opinion. Obviously, you can get some massive risk rewards a lot of the time. But you can see, usually they hit by a minimal amount, and then just like go in the other direction and continue in whatever direction the higher time frames are looking at going. But yeah, also considering this is bearish, we were breaking lows and we weren't really breaking highs. We kind of double topped over here a little bit, or just failed to break that high, and then came into clear space, not reacting from anything, which is always nice to see. Once again, doesn't matter quite as much on the 5 minute, as trend just isn't too big of a factor on the 5 minute, because this could just be a very small wick on an hour candle or something. So yeah, that's fine. But in terms of the 5 minute, we had one more trade, I believe, and that was on UJ. This unfortunately was a loss. Jesus, where was it? Oh, it was over here. Very clean trade overall. I was very surprised this lost. Obviously, it did just lose and then go in our direction, which is really unfortunate. This would have been a 1 to 3, very tight stop loss for 16 pips. Yeah, that's what. Oh, sorry, for 5.4 pips. That is what we'd be targeting for this, based on the TP rules. And yeah, started off nice. I believe our entry was a little bit earlier. I mean, even if it was here, still would have got hit. I don't know why it was marked there. I don't remember. I guess we might have ended a little bit earlier. And yeah, we kind of came up a little bit, and then just 2 bearish candles straight to stop loss. Literally no bottom wick here. We just went straight into the zone and then continued up afterwards. And yeah, would have went to where it should be. I don't know if we had the 1 pip room. No, this still would have taken us out. So stop loss rules still doing as they should. But yeah, very clean trade. Very nice breaks of structure over here. Cleanly breaking it, not even with a wick. Breaking all this stuff to the left as well. In terms of liquidity, formed a proper low right here. It's beautiful. And just constantly breaking highs, breaking highs, breaking highs. Even though they're just minor, they mean a lot. And then this is the bottom zone for at least until down here, but we won't really look in the zone too much. Usually the large structure zones on the 5 minute aren't quite as good, but structure like this is great. This is A+ on the 30 minute. On the 5 minute, it's just an unfortunate loser. It's just one of those. There's no mistake in having taken this, but yeah, I'm quite new to the strat, and one thing that it's not super clear for me is a flip entry. Could you use like replay to show how it's performed, if that's cool with you? Absolutely. I will try and find a good example. Generally, we don't take flip entries often at all. It's very rare. Yeah, generally flip entries are when we are confidently rejecting the zone multiple times. So once again, as all entries are, we're just trying to predict the bullish close before it happens. So for example, on this, obviously this is a really weird zone, which is why there's no long position on it, but we'll just use it as an example anyway. We came into the zone once here with this bearish candle and didn't quite close bullish. So we've proved that we're going to reject this area. We've proved that we're going to reject the zone. And then with the next candle, we came in again and flipped, and this is where we take our entry. That's just because we've proved with multiple candles that we are rejecting the zone really well. We're getting really good reactions, and it likely will close bullish from here. But you're just trying to get in from an earlier point of the bullish close just to get a better risk reward. So yeah, there probably will be some other examples here if I can find them. Other times, this is like sometimes valid, especially on pairs like Hong Kong 33. We don't really do this too much on the pairs that we trade at the moment. But say the candle is pretty high up. Obviously, this is still 27 pips from the zone. So not only did we come all the way down, but we went very deep into the zone, basically as deep as you can get, and then flipped. And obviously, you wouldn't even take this if it was on the close entry. But on the flip entry, this goes to a 1 to 10 from a 1 to 3. So that improves your risk reward like crazy. But it is very risky because once again, all we're doing is trying to predict the close from earlier on, which is why I always recommend just taking the close generally, especially for beginners. So basically, if the candle that retests the zone starts going over the previous candle close, yeah, after making a bottom wick, it has to make this fat bottom wick into the zone and then flip past the open of the candle. Can you show the difference between a fake out and no fake out after liquidity? Do you mean getting a fake out from like fake out zones? I'll wait for a response and quickly go through UJ here. This setup, very A+, was actually really unfortunate that we lost here, but is a very good setup. Yeah, okay. In terms of fake out zones, all we're looking for is, only be a moment. Yeah, usually we don't take one candle liquidity, especially on the 5 minutes, so I actually don't have any good examples. But basically, what we're looking for, actually wait, that'd be more candle. So say that's our one candle liquidity. This is just one bearish candle. We've got a zone here, and then we've obviously got our zone below it. If this just goes straight through the zone and then comes to our zone, usually it won't lose. We've got no proof that there's any liquidity here really, because we're predicting that this one candle liquidity is a good fake out zone for normal supply and demand traders. So that's when they'll be getting in. But if we see no small rejection from this before coming down to our zone, then there's no evidence that there's any liquidity below this. So then we're just trading normal supply and demand pretty much, which obviously we know, well, that's the reason we're trading this strategy, because we know it's more effective than supply and demand. We'll be getting way lower risk rewards if we even do win. But generally, we just want to see this happen before we come down to the zone. We don't want to see a massive rejection. We just want to see a small one where they would have lost. They would be getting their stop losses taken before we come to our zone. Investors are getting a better price. And yeah, just same as two candle liquidity, we still like to see those fake outs. But with one candle liquidity, it's pretty much necessary. Are you considering using Vantage charts on TradingView for the 5 minute time frame like RD does? I could do. I don't think it will really make too much of a difference. I've looked between that and FXCM. It doesn't really make too much difference. It probably would be good just to clean up my charts, to be honest. So I may start doing that just for that. But I'm not too concerned on it. But can you explain break of candle? I think I have done a video on these entry videos in the simplified videos channel. But once again, I can try and get a good example. So right here, let's just go into replay mode here. So let's say we entered the zone. Obviously we've got a good rejection, and then right here we've made our upper wick, and just pretend that this candle closed down here. Okay, so pretend this whole thing is a bearish candle, or just a bearish body. Obviously in this situation you'd end up entering down here if you got in on the close. But in a lot of situations where you've already made that upper wick, you started rejecting really hard, you don't want to like lose out on a lot of RR potential. You're just getting on when it breaks past the previous candle. So just in a bearish example like this, just when it goes past the previous candle. I don't know how to explain that any better, really. And obviously in a bullish example, it would just be the other way around. Just once you have your bullish candle, and the next candle goes, what the hell is going on? No, once the next candle breaks past it, your entry would be here instead of up here, if that makes sense. But yeah. Can you please let me know your trading limits, specifically how many trades you're comfortable with losing per day and what percentage of your capital you are willing to risk per trade per day? I don't really have a max trades per day because I like to keep my trading as similar to backtesting as possible, and obviously in backtesting I'm going to take all the valid trades, and I'm not going to know about what other trades are going on different pairs. So I don't really have a max trades. I'd say maybe on the 5 minute it's good to have a max trades of 2, or maybe 3, depends how many pairs you trade. But max loss, I will never be losing more than 3%, I guess. So I guess that is kind of a max trades. But yeah, if I've lost 3% in a day, then I'm just gonna just give up, just quit trading. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I don't remember the last time I lost 3% in a day. It's been a very long time, so that's not really too much of a thought. And then in terms of risk, I'm only ever risking 1% or 0.5%. 0.5% depending on where my account is at. If I have a funded in a bit of drawdown, then I might just start risking 0.5. But generally, 1% is fine. That's kind of what I risk the majority of the time. Almost like a flip, but it didn't retest. Yeah, and you're not getting it in the flip of this candle. You're getting in once it breaks past this candle. So quite similar. All you're doing is trying to predict the close from an earlier point. Yeah. Next trade though, because we need to do these. We had UK 100, and we get out of replay mode. Where on earth did it go? Up here. Okay, this looks kind of messy because we've got a bunch of setups going on, but let me just move this down here for now. So this setup was quite nice. The main reason I wanted to take this was because UK 100 is a very bullish instrument. We also did, with this wick, break past this high to the left, which is nice. Obviously not strongly, not very convincingly, but we did do that. We also broke past this high a bit more convincingly. We had our liquidity, we had a good zone, and we want to take buys on UK 100. That is the main thing. UK 100 is great for buys. Generally supplies fail more often, and buys have a very good win rate, so that's a big reason for taking this. We got pretty much a perfect rejection. We closed bullish by the tiniest amount, so that's where we got in, and then we got a very good rejection for a while. We had no reason to close a break even down here, and then we came up. I had said a lot of times or a couple times in main trading chat or in general, that I had my TP1 at 1 to 5. I only said it in the trade ideas when it was like down to here, so a lot of you might have gotten out at like 4.5% or something. But yeah, I had a TP1 at a 1 to 5. I was aiming for probably like a full 1 to 10 for full TP. But then news came out. That was this candle that barely hit my TP1. Very lucky that it did. But yeah, it did that and then immediately came down. I don't remember the last time news went in our direction. Genuinely, it's been so long since it's done like anything good for us. Other than if you count GJ this week, which I'll go through in a bit, but we got out before that anyway because it was NFP. You never hold through NFP. So the one time it does something good, it's the one news event you should never hold through. So yeah, really unfortunate. News has just not been good to us for a very long time. But yeah, obviously once I hit CP1, I close at break even. So yeah, this was just a 2.5% trade. I closed half of my position at TP1, so obviously 50% of 1 to 5 is 2.5. But yeah, that's that trade. I don't think I have anything else to talk about with that. But yeah, weird level of liquidity, nothing special. This is like the main level really, because we then broke past this high with this wick and then came down very straight. So yeah, a bit of a weird looking trade, but it's definitely valid. How much are you funding, if you don't mind me asking? Like 250k at the moment. But like one of them I don't trade, one of them I'm using for the 5 minute, one of them I'm using for the 30 minute. I like to keep one that I just don't reach. Well, I take a trade not like once per month just to make sure it doesn't the inactivity rule, sorry. But yeah, I like to always have one that I know will just be safe, because market conditions could just go bad. You could just have a really bad month and whatever. And directional close is where you wait for a close, right? Yeah, just the close in your direction. So in a bullish example where we're looking at a demand, we want it to close bullish, just like this, and vice versa. 2 weeks ago, we discussed trading at the New York Open for 2 hours on the 5 minute chart. Is that still something I'm interested in doing? Maybe. There is potential for me to add more trading time to my 5 minute timing. Usually I go gym around that time, which is kind of like annoying. Obviously it doesn't really matter much, I could just go gym later or earlier, but I could do, just for some potential extra profits. I don't know if many people here trade New York 5 minute and what kind of success you have. I definitely need to do some of my own back testing before properly adding it. I just kind of haven't really, because I mean London alone is just great extra profits, and before this I didn't even trade that, so definitely chilling for the moment. But if everyone else is seeing great results, you know, there's no point in me messing out. And then not finally, we had some other weird trades. Like I said, this is a very hectic week. We had a lot of random ass trades, but we had this GBP CAD trade, very clean. We're basically predicting it would go bullish from here. Not that this was like a specific key area or anything. I don't believe. Yeah, I didn't even check. But basically, we come down to this kind of area down here, where you can see we had a tiny bit of consolidation, little demand area. Took out this level of liquidity, and then came up with a fairly bullish reaction. And overall, we're very bullish. So this just looks like normal bullish market structure to continue up. So taking a trade around here, we could definitely get a very good risk reward, potentially a 1 to 10. Definitely a trade I was interested in taking based on that. Just high risk, high reward. Even though I don't think this was too risky of a trade, because very good level of liquidity, 2 candle right here. Accuracy zone, we love to see the accuracy zones, especially when we just specifically react from it this well. Break of structure into clear space. Only thing about this was that we were rejecting this supply zone. This could have been why it lost in the end, but I was willing to I was willing to accept that risk for the high potential risk reward and how everything else was looking nice about it. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty direct to the zone after that. Got a very bullish reaction from this very specific area, so good looking trade. Just unfortunate we did come straight down pretty much after. But yeah, there's not too much to say about that other than that. And besides this, we had 2 weird trades. I say weird trades because they were a couple hours before NFP. We were trying to take a couple % profit before it released, because obviously we're not going to hold through NFP. No matter what the pair is, it's just too big of a news event. It's just too much of a risk of basically gambling at that point. So this was the first one on GC. This one I did close a break even. This was the level of liquidity that I was counting, and this was the break of structure. Obviously, it would be nice to see this break of structure, but like I've said a lot of times, it's a bit unrealistic to break this high, to expect to break this high for this to be valid. Bit unrealistic, and this is still a very good break of structure. We closed inside this supply zone here and validated that, and then got a very good rejection from here. And we immediately got 4 bullish candles in a row, which was looking good. We entered just before the close here. And I just put my stop loss to break even because news was releasing in like 2 hours from here. And I was thinking there's not really much way it's going to be able to make too much movement in 2 hours. Like the max risk reward I'm probably going to get is like a 1-to-1, maybe 1-to-2. So I'll just close this if it comes down to break even, and that'll be that. But then it did in those next 4 candles, which is 2 hours, proceed to go very bullish and hit up to a 1-to-2.5, which is crazy. That is quite nuts that I managed to do that. We just got a lot of bullish momentum, so would have been a great thing to hold, obviously. But I'm not mad about my decision. It made sense. Generally, this is just a lot of momentum to get. You can't really expect that. You're not really thinking that will happen. So with our high risk reward strategy, I'm looking to close at break even because it's not worth the risk of a whole loss for just potential 1%. And the same thing happened on GJ. Obviously, we entered these at the same time, which is obviously a pretty good confluence because they're both GPU pairs. This one on, I somehow didn't get taken out of this, but I'm not sure if I'll include it in the monthly results because I did mention in the trade ideas that like it's fair if you want to close at break even there, or to put stop loss at break even. So yeah, some people might have taken a 1-to-2.5 because that's also where I was like, yeah, it's a good time to potentially close here. I doubt it'll go up too much more. So this is an easy 2.5% extra profit if you did stay in this until just before NFP. But I'm sure a lot of people did get out at break even, which is also completely fair because when it's coming down with as much momentum as it was, that is a completely fine thing to do. So potential easy 2.5% extra profit. I saw someone did hold through it. They just took off 0.5% of their position and just let it run with stop loss at break even, and they took like a 1-to-8, I guess. So great news for them. But yeah, you can see this big candle right here. If I went in the other direction, you'd probably get slipped for a bunch of or just a bigger loss than you expect. So that's why it's not worth it for me. But yeah, this is a one-time news went in our direction, and I'd already exited. But for me, I did manage to get 2.5%, but I'm not sure how many people did, so I don't know if I'll include that in the monthly statistics at the end. Do you have any more questions? Mango dying this morning. Yeah, my throat is dry for some reason. How you doing, bro? Been spending the last week away. Good, man. I had a decent week, so we are chilling. Hopefully this week's looking pretty good as well. We've got quite a lot of setups looking pretty good. Would you consider that top zone now of GCAD? This one, if that's what you mean, then yes, I'm looking at that. Yeah, okay, that's what we got for now. But coming into this week, in terms of news, today we do have a few bank holidays, which is never great. It just means that there's less pairs that we can take a trade on, really. Don't really like taking trades on pairs with bank holidays going on. Then through the rest of the week, we have CPI, big CPI. That's another one we don't want to hold through, especially if we're holding a USD pair. And then other than that, we don't really have too much. So we're chilling. We just got to be careful of CPI. That's the main thing. 1:30, Wednesday, Thursday. They're the big ones. And in terms of setups we have this week, GJ, we got nothing really. We're looking very bullish. Obviously, we did have this zone. I didn't get in on this. To be honest, I just didn't see it. We had a great level of liquidity. Right here, this is a beautiful low, and we came down with kind of weird market structure. But overall, we're still making just small breaks of structure like this, which are very nice to see. We've got a very good rejection. And yeah, this is easily gone for a 1-to-10. I didn't take this. I didn't even really clock it, but it was a pretty decent trade if you managed to take it. I did see a few people did. Then good job. I somehow missed it. But yeah, no setups on GJ at the moment. Just looking kind of dry. Just not great market structure coming down right here. But yeah, CJ, bottom zone all the way at the bottom. Why did I say that so weird? Bottom zone all the way at the bottom. I'm looking at it, but I'll need it to come down in a very straight line for me to consider actually taking it. If we start moving down like we are right now, or how GJ is going to just look like this triangle, and that just means there's very low volume in the market. We're likely just going to keep fizzling out. There's a low chance that this is going to be the exact area if we're just showing no volume, because that means investors aren't really there. But yeah, overall, once again, looking pretty bullish. We just broke past this high to the left over here, and we'll probably be looking to take out these if we create a good demand setup. So we'll see what happens there. UJ, we got two nice zones. This one barely didn't tap. I did see someone mentioned the fact that it taps, but that was the normal drawing. Obviously, this would be an accuracy zone. So won't be entering this yet. It's rare that I do see a trade win off the normal zone rather than the accuracy zone, like without tapping the accuracy zone on the 30 minutes. So there is a high chance that this loses off the normal drawing and then comes down to our zone. Maybe it'll win off there, or maybe it'll come down to this bottom zone. Both of them are good. Obviously, 2 candle liquidity here, fake out zone here. This is a good example of a fake out. You can see we had this normal demand zone, normal supply and demand trader will be looking at that. And from that area, we got a bullish candle. Obviously, people are entering here. They're seeing a great rejection from the zone, not closing inside or anything. And yeah, they would definitely be getting stopped out right here. We're using them as liquidity. So that's a good example of a fake out that we like to see. And that's why you don't trade normal supply and demand, because this happens. But same with this zone down here. We've got 2 candle liquidity here. It's fine. It's not like a really strong level of liquidity, but it's a decent zone. There's nothing wrong with that. So we'll be looking at both of them. We are looking to go bullish on UJ, in my opinion, based on the fact that we reacted really strongly from this demand. This one on UJ wasn't too bad. I don't like that we didn't break past this high to the left here, although we didn't break any of these lows either, so it was kind of uncertain. I wasn't 100% looking at this one, but it still looks decent. Once again, if you manage to catch this, then great job. I also wasn't able to take it. I would have been asleep at this time, but yeah, some decent zones on UJ there. Euro USD, we still got this bottom zone. I don't really like it that much anymore, based on the fact that we barely didn't tap it and have now got this massive rejection. But instead, we've created this zone right here, which is looking pretty good. There's not really much for us to react from. If we come down to this and get a good rejection, then I'll definitely be looking at it. Obviously, we've got 3 candle liquidity. It's a good level of liquidity to take out. There will definitely be some below that. And yeah, if we get a good rejection, definitely something I'll be looking to take. I've got my alert set on it. Once again, overall on EU, we are looking pretty bullish. There's not really too much to argue with there. Just bullish market structure. Boom. And if we catch something right in the middle of this area, could be a very good risk reward, as most of the trades seem to have been recently. GBP CAD. Once again, also looking pretty bullish. We're still reacting from this demand zone down here. We did retest it and continue. Let me just remove this. This looks really messy. But we've now left 2 pretty nice zones here. This one's got 3 candle liquidity, but it's quite a big zone. And this one has quite a bit of liquidity just here. It's a little bit far from the zone, but it's a smaller zone, so more pinpoint accuracy of potentially reacting from it. I mean, if it reacts, then it's clearly a zone that investors are interested in because it's just smaller. Yeah, looking to potentially go bullish on that as well. UK 100, we're all pretty much always looking for buys. It's very rare that this is ever looking bearish. We broke past this high after we also retested this zone. You can see how strong our zones are. They literally just hold no matter what, pretty much. We're still not going to take tapped zones, but yeah, they still do hold very well. And we've now been left with this very good zone, which is looking pretty nice. I will had this alert back from where I moved it earlier. But yeah, looking pretty good there. Just a good level of liquidity once again, a low there. And also, market structure is very bullish. It's not just because it's UK 100. This is, I mean, we're literally going from the bottom left to the top right of my screen. There's not really much to argue about. Yeah, good level of liquidity. If we come down in a good straight line, then that would be fantastic. GBP NZD, we've gotten a great reaction from this zone once again multiple times. The strategy is just too strong, what can I say? But then we also had, I mean, we've kind of got this line as well, so it's kind of uncertain. We're not really able to break past these lows. You can see right here we've barely not broken past them. We've gotten a massive rejection. So I'm not really looking for anything right now on GBP/NZD. I'm just kind of chilling on it, hoping that maybe we'll show some more clear direction sometime soon. God, my throat is really dry. I'll get to everyone's questions in a moment, by the way. I'm just going to quickly finish this forecast. In terms of ORD JPY, don't really like the look of this zone just because this like news candle, I guess, is really weird. Zone all the way down here, I'd need to see it come down in a really straight line for me to want to take that, so really not too interested in it at the moment. But overall, looking bullish. If we do create a nice zone, then I'll be hoping for a demand. So that is all of them. Back to questions it is. There's another above the GC one. Do you mean this zone? Yeah, it's fine. It's just weird. It's just a very weird zone. Although it could be a nice spot to just continue here. I don't know if I am expecting it to come all the way down here. I'll keep it marked up, but probably not something I'm interested in, just based on this is one candle. Then this candle's a lot smaller and didn't come nearly as low. It's rare you see something like that, but yeah, meh. Can you take a look at the 30-minute trade on AJ at Friday? I believe it was 9:30 UK time. AJ Friday 9:30. Oh, this one. Oh, I didn't even see that. I never even saw this trade happen. That's quite clean. Yeah, great accuracy zone. 2 candle liquidity. Broke the high to the left here, as well as obviously the one that needs to be valid. We're already looking bullish by this point. It's actually a very clean trade. I did not see that. I assume this happened at the same time as GJ. It looks very similar. Wait, what? Yeah, what time? 9:30 entry. 9 entry. Yeah, that are probably already in enough trades to maybe not consider that. But yeah, that's actually a very nice trade. So good trade if you did catch that. Is the win rate better with accuracy zones? From my testing, yes. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that, but for me, accuracy zones generally have better win rates. I think it's because we're pinpointing a more obvious spot, like I was explaining earlier. So it's more specific. And if you do get a reaction from that zone, then yeah, it's looking, it's just like a good confluence. Gold 5 minute is looking good right now. Looks like it's going to tap into a demand zone. Is a structure to the zone too bearish, or would you take it? Gold 5 minute. This is no longer my trading times, but I'll take a look. This one's invalid, so I'm not gonna go through that. But this one looks alright. Structure coming down is not too bad. I don't like that we've reacted from this supply here, so that's not great. But other than that, it's coming down fairly straight. If you do get a good reaction, obviously we've just come down quite a lot. So this could be a very good risk. Oh, it's the 5 minute. You got your TP rules. But yeah, this could definitely get a good reaction. It might want to correct this whole kind of area sometime soon. So I won't be surprised if this one at all. It's low key. I mean, it's overall quite a nice zone. 3 candle liquidity, quite a small zone. So I don't mind it. Would you recommend taking a reversal setup like the actual EU short setup to reach the long setup below, to take a buy right after? So taking a sell before the demand. Sometimes you do that. Obviously, if good reactions and on both setups. Still not sure about that when the structure is looking bullish. Yeah, a lot of the time, like let's say it came up to this zone and we got a reaction from this before we reach this demand zone. A lot of the time we can catch like a nice 1 to 4, 1 to 5 off those zones. Hasn't happened in a long time, but we used to get those kind of trades quite a lot. Generally, not something I'm really looking at just because we are very bullish on EU. But sometimes if the trend's a little bit uncertain, but just both setups can win, and it'll be looking really nice, and we just get like a great day or 2 days or whatever. So it is possible. In this situation, I'm probably not looking for something like that, just because we are very bullish on EU. But yeah, thank you. I'd love to see an example from Mango. When can we say that this shark is a boss? What oh, change of character and break of structure. I don't really do things based on changes of character and breaks of structure. I mean, breaks of structure I do. Changes of character, I've never really used that term, but it's more, that's more something that comes with experience. It's something I find quite difficult to teach. Obviously, I have done videos in this Discord about that to a decent extent, but it's hard to get a proper grip from just someone explaining it, because it's so different on every type of market, and every day it will like change, like the bias for where it may change character will change. For example, on GJ or on Chef JPY right now, even though this is where I would consider it to potentially be going bearish if we broke past this, if we are starting to move like this, then I would think that we are very likely going bearish. But that's hard to explain on every different pair, because there's different ways it can start looking bearish, if that makes sense. So it's very difficult to explain. Obviously, there's, like I said, this is just a very clear way for me to say, yeah, it's looking like it could very well go bearish here. But then even at that point, if we start reacting from this or something, and we start going bullish, immediately I'm saying we're probably bullish again, because we haven't broke past this low. So it's all just in the moment what I'm looking at. But yeah, I'll try to do a simplified video on something like that at some point. But yeah, GC is tapped. This is, yeah, I'm not particularly interested in this. I'll see the rejection, but meh, it's not anything crazy to me, nothing too special. But yeah, now I actually have to look in the webinar questions, because I believe we did have some questions here. Is it going to be a webinar or simplified video on each pair characteristics? I could do something like that for sure. I'll need to go back into back testing and actually like properly note them down. I just kind of have my just don't even think about it. I just kind of do it in the markets now. But yeah, I could do something like that. Bro, like, I know everything about the strategy. I do back tests and forward tests, and I follow all the rules. But when I took trade, I set and forget and check trade every few hours. Like, I know all the things, but I can't pass my challenge account. I don't know why. I'm doing all the things properly. So why is it happening? I think it's a matter of time, or can be other things. Well, yeah, a matter of time. You do need a kind of bigger sample size, I guess, to be properly profitable. Like, a lot of the time you can have a losing month and still be a profitable trader. Obviously, we haven't had that in this Discord yet. We're doing very well at the moment, but we do have losing weeks quite frequently, actually. But it just doesn't matter, just in the long run. If you trade consistently with a consistent level of risk, then you will pass those challenges. You will get there as long as you're doing everything right. You're not letting any psychology get to you. You're not over risking. You're not over trading, taking those locally setups. You should be fine eventually if you truly think you're doing everything right. But the psychology is the most difficult part. That is always going to be the most difficult part. Nobody wants to hear it. People don't want to hear about psychology most of the time. I like to talk about it because I know it's the most important thing. I will probably do a webinar highly on psychology at some point, because yeah, that's just the most important shit with trading, really. But yeah, that's that. You will get there eventually. It is definitely a timing thing. Just don't stress about it. Don't try and rush it, because it will not help. You got to take it slow. What's your opinion on the gold 5-minute supply trade happening this morning? Did you send that today? Gold 5-minute trade happens at 7:50. 7:50. this one, I'm assuming. It's not bad. Once again, really large structure setups on the 5 minute are not my favorite. And also sells on gold usually not my thing when with this low down. Sells on gold, I mean, they're fine. We do still like to take sells on gold if they're looking good. But when with this low down, I don't usually expect gold to like continue bearish for long periods of time. So when we're doing large structure sells, it's not really my favorite. But yeah, overall, if we're just like looking at this as a setup with just no intuition involved, this is very nice. We have a great break of, a great level of liquidity, great, very clean break of structure. Structure coming up to the zone is fine, good rejection. So I wouldn't blame you at all for taking this. I just generally prefer the small structure trades on the 5 minute over the larger ones. Especially when we're taking sells on an indice that is generally bearish. I mean, generally bullish. But yeah, it's a fine trade. Everything is going for it. So yeah, I do not blame you all for having taken that if you did. But yeah, and rate it. I'd say B plus, just based on intuition. If there was no intuition involved, then I'd just say A, I suppose. We trade with different CFD brokers, so our charts vary. How does this affect our trading? And should we look at futures charts which have real prices? All the back testing based on the strategy, or the strategy's creation, is based on TradingView, FXCM, and Oanda charts. So using other charts is just never something I generally recommend because there hasn't been in-depth testing done on it by us. Obviously you can do your own testing, and if you get better results with that, absolutely go for it. I don't want you to be restrained to only the rules that we've created with this strategy. I want you to be able to just figure out what works best for you. So if you notice that works better, then for sure. But the thing is, we know already that it works very well with the TradingView chart. So yeah. That is usually what I recommend. I believe that only Oanda has differences that can affect your trading usage. I think it was replying to that. Do you ever re-enter a trade in case of stop loss being hit, and what factors / confluences have to be present before re-entering? I do, but usually in situations, what was it? Was it UK 100? Actually, GC had a better example of this trade. Yeah, usually, for example, like this, so we ended on here, and we got stopped out, and then you could re-enter. Generally, I don't do that in a situation like this. Usually, if we come up, we enter, and it immediately hits stop loss, and then gives another bullish rejection, then there's a high chance we will take that entry. If it's a high quality setup, usually we'll enter with 0.5% risk as well. Just to be safe, you don't really want to risk, or you don't want to lose 2% on one setup. It's just not good. But yeah, if we just kind of immediately hit stop loss and then give another bullish rejection, there's no reason for us not to take that re-entry, because it's still the same setup. It's still just as high quality. We're giving a bullish rejection still. So that's usually what we need to see in order to take a re-entry. If we've already given a really good rejection and then come back down to it, usually those kind of zones have a fairly low win rate, although this week they haven't. Obviously there was UK 100. I believe there was another one, GPNZD as well. Yeah, but it's okay to do. It's just, for me, I prefer not to risk too much on re-entry, so I have quite a specific rule set for it. Wait, you don't win 100% of the trades you take? Scammer. Fuck, you're right, bro. Yeah, no, I've lost once or twice, but don't tell anyone. How do you come about trusting your intuition more? Experience. Most things in trading, it comes with experience, which is why you can't try and rush trading. So many people probably just quit trading before even like getting the right experience to be able to trust themselves and like gain their own perspective on trading. So it's generally just like, there's a lot of setups where they look great. And like if you actually put it in front of the strategy with all the rules, they'll just be A+++++. But there's just some things that you just see happen over and over again, to where you just know it's most likely going to lose. And those are the kind of trades that I just do avoid, despite them on paper being A+. But yeah, that's just mostly with experience. Some good info shared here. Thanks, bro. Let's hope for a good week, boys. Absolutely. Like I said, we do have quite a few decent looking setups, so hopefully we can get something good going. Would you re-enter if there's like 2 zones with liquidity present, but the top one fakes you out and hits stop loss, but then the bottom zone gives a reaction as well? Yeah, of course. That's just that can just be used as a fake out zone to add extra liquidity. If a top zone loses, the bottom zone often wins. So yeah, that is completely fine. I'll wait for these last 2 people to stop typing. If anyone else has a question, quickly put it in there, because we are coming to the end of this webinar now. So, on trade ideas, would you now avoid the UJ trade as liquidity wasn't broken? The 5-minute trade that we took last week, do you mean? The one drawn up now? Do you mean the liquidity was broken? If you mean the high that made the liquidity was broken, are you talking about on the 30-minute one? Alright, yeah, this is the level of liquidity we technically needed to break. But usually there's also another level of liquidity that is like very nice to see break, which would be this one. I thought it was the top one. Oh, nah. This liquidity is this is way too far to be valid. This is definitely nothing we'd be looking at. But yeah, that looks like all of the questions. So I hope everybody got some value out of this webinar, and we can get a good week. So yeah, I will see you next week, and peace. I wish everyone luck. Goodbye.